Here for the Dads podcast, episode 2. Today, we got another guest, the infamous JG. Well, you can go ahead and tell him your real name.
Jeremy Griffis, JG from the first episode, In the Flesh.
In the Flesh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect timing, I guess, but no Meyer for, I'm 26 now, 16 years.
Golly.
He's known my wife, Daria, for probably 20 years, so.
I know you back when you had the braids, dog.
Yeah, back when I had the braids.
People don't know about you back in the days. There's a couple people that now, they had braids back in the day. Like my boy Desmond Scott, a lot of people didn't know he had braids.
Yeah.
I knew braids.
I didn't know Desmond had braids.
Man, TJ Thorpe had braids. People didn't know that either. That's a different era.
It was an era, man.
Yeah,
AI, inspiring their youth.
Yeah, man. So today, what I really want to talk about, obviously, you're not a dad. You may be soon at some point.
About 4 more years.
4 more years. That's what the plan is. We always try to plan it. You can talk to any dad. They be like, yeah, I said I wasn't, and then I don't know a whole lot of people who, well, I know people do it, but I don't know a whole lot of people who like exactly planned it. And like, we just go get this thing and then just go. A lot of times it just, kind of happens.
That's fair.
You just like, I guess we roll with it.
God just spared me today to graduate. I just need to let D graduate.
But you still qualify to be here because
Appreciate it.
You have a dad.
Yep.
Everybody has a dad. Everybody has a father. And it doesn't matter if they're there in your life, not in your life, you have a father figure, a coach, or whatever. There's always going to be some type of impact. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about like the presence, what it looks like, what it feels like, what you remember to have a strong presence of a father in your life, the impact or whatever. And we'll talk, we'll laugh, and we'll play. Because I haven't seen you in a little while, bro.
I know, man. I've been busy.
You think about it, we followed each other around for a long time. So we met each other a long time ago. You was living in Burlington. I was in Durham. We met each other at track. And you were close to my baby brother's age. But both of y'all was just beasts. Like, y'all was just handling business on the track. Like,
he was on a different level, though. He stamped across the world.
He's a different level with everything he does. Like, he on another. But I got to meet both you and Daria at that point in time and just kind of watch y'all date and like do this like journey for a very long time, which is extremely beautiful. It's black love. Everybody love a little
Appreciate
black
it.
love. But I also got to see your parents too. I got to see your mom and your dad, and got to see the relationship that you and your dad have, along with your brothers as well. And as we started we transitioned from there. I went to school. From high school, I went to college, and lo and behold, right after, he was like, hey, bro, I'm thinking about Navy. You come up, see the family. We would do that all over again. And then I went on a ship. And then right after that, you took a training, and you was on a ship with me.
Yeah.
And then you graduated, and now you're here.
I think when I stepped on this ship, it was the first time you hadn't been there before. So
yeah. I left, went to Guam for about a year, and that was completely different. And that was probably the first time we probably spent that much time away from each other, 100%. Which is kind of wild, though.
Yeah.
So how you doing, man? What's been up for you? What you been up to? What's life like?
Ship life. Spent some time in South America this past summer and fall, so that was cool to get out the country, and then hanging out with D.
Bro, food is good out.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I still go back and look at the receipts because the bang for your buck is just ridiculous.
And I be thinking, I think everywhere. I used to think at least everywhere they spoke Spanish, it's not necessary. Like they got Portuguese, like all that stuff. But one thing that is completely unmatched. And I got to be careful in saying this because I'm African. And I don't want nobody African parents like jump on me and that like that. But like food from Latin countries and from like South America, it's just like you can just eat it all.
It's
eat
just
anything.
Because I was in Brazil, so the steak,
bro.
And I went to see my sponsors.
What part of Brazil did y'all pull into?
We were in Rio de Janeiro.
We went to Porto de Galinhas.
Oh wow,
the port of chickens. And I didn't know that. I think I don't know the history. I'm not a huge history buff. I'm an English major, but somebody basically told me that was another place where they used to bring in slaves. And then I guess when they were supposed to stop, they started disguising the ships as bringing in chickens to the port, but they still had slaves. So just called it a port of chickens.
Little finesse.
Yeah, a little finesse. But the people were beautiful. The beaches were beautiful.
Absolutely.
The food was amazing. It was a freaking good time.
It was.
But where are you going to next? Y'all got
so
crazy y'all doing?
We've been preparing to go over the horizon.
Okay.
Later on in the year, so we'll see how that goes. Should be a good time.
How you enjoy married life?
Oh man, when you marry your best friend, I tell people all the time. You marry your best friend, it's just the relationship, and then you add bills on it.
I had somebody tell me, you say you just add
You add the
bills
bills on it.
Sometimes you add bills, you add debts, you add emotions, you add a whole bunch of other stuff. When you marry a best friend, they already kind of know you. They know. They also know where to push your buttons and stuff. Too.
Absolutely.
And I've seen Derek do it. She knows how to get. She knows how to get to you if she needs to get to you. I had somebody talk to me one time about. They felt like when you say like I married my best friend, that's a lie. Thing is, it comes. It was like, I feel like they just everybody just be saying it. There's no way in the world everybody can just marry their best friend. It comes with different flavors. Like
100%.
You specifically knew your wife for a very long time. Y'all were best friends, extremely close, family friends, everything, and then y'all came together. It's like, let's get married, and it was a beautiful bond. Y'all did that. For other people, so like me and my wife, of course we were friends. I don't know that I could say we were best friends, but it turned into a best friend thing. It's like when you live with the person and you're enjoying that person and y'all speak the same language, you start going to work, and as soon as something happens, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to tell. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That becomes your best friend, and the math starts working. But let's get into it a little bit. Tell me about your dad. Like, if you had to give me a couple sentences of what your dad's like, if we didn't know him, or I know him, but if people didn't know him, what's your dad like?
Oh man, so it's funny, right? So I think me and my dad are the closest out of me and my two other brothers.
You got two brothers, no sisters?
No sisters. Okay. Yeah, just my mom. Like she's the only girl. It's my mom and then her two daughter-in-laws. That's it. That's the only girls. But I think we're actually complete opposites.
Hold on, so y'all are the closest but the complete opposites.
And I think that's why we mesh so well.
That's why.
I'm more outgoing. He's very much so like quiet to himself. Like my dad has best friends. I'd be like, you talk to your best friend? Oh man, I can't remember the last time. But
bro,
that's just how he is.
No, I understand that.
Like his best friend just moved up to Mebane and we live in Burlington. I'm like, you been to the house yet? Nah, man.
He chilling, bro. It's nothing wrong with that.
So I'm definitely more outgoing. He is. I think he has more of like that alpha onto him. Like I'm a little more reserved in the fact that I'll let some things slide. Yeah. He'll definitely address them quicker. But I think our bond probably initially grew with the whole football thing. Like I'm the one that probably emulated him the most in terms of like.
When did you start playing football?
Probably 8 or 9 around that time. But you know how it is. At first, everybody want to be a hooper. So I thought
everybody but me. I never wanted to hoop. It's probably because I couldn't hoop. I did it in the backyard,
and I wasn't that good or anything like that. It's just that football is late. Yeah, a lot of kids don't gravitate towards it, especially not like where I'm from. But I think that's where we kind of like really bonded at when I started to have a love and interest in that. But just kicking it with them, you know, a lot of times you think your dad ain't cool when you're growing up. But then as you grow older,
you start hearing it from his friends.
Yeah,
like, okay, maybe.
All right, he was that dude. So like,
you start wanting to spend time with him. Now, did he play football as well?
He did. So he, interestingly enough, graduated high school was like pound for pound the best receiver to come through the state of North Carolina. So all-time leader, Burleson. Yeah, so Burleson Cummins, all-time leader in receptions, state of North Carolina, single season receptions, top 3 in yards, like. He's probably still in like the top 20 or something, but you'll never know that because he just be chill.
Every time I see him.
So, and I think that was kind of like the misperception. But as you get older, you watch film, you're like, oh man, that dude's a dog.
I've seen his film.
I'm like, he's a dog.
We shared the same coach. I mean, we had Coach Green, and he used to coach.
That's another thing. So he played offense, but the defense coordinator, NC State, when he was there, Coach Buddy Green recruited me to Navy. So
he knew
it's relationships. But so like I said, we're probably the closest, but opposites.
I'm glad you said it because now when I think about and I look at my 4 kids, of course, you can't really tell the twins' personality just yet.
Yeah, they're so young.
But my 2-year-old versus my 5-year-old, my 2-year-old is who I think I see myself as.
Yeah.
Like extremely outgoing, like running all over the place, like the type of energy and everything. Like he's jumping all over the place. I don't want to call him violent, but like he's violent. He's tough. Like,
he's a tough dude.
Right now, the biggest struggle that I'm having is I've been at least watching videos to try to see how I can control it. It's him hitting.
Okay.
But when I'm watching videos to see how I can help it, they always talk about somebody hitting in anger, like when he gets mad and hit. He don't be upset about
aggressive.
It at all. He just he won't Azada play with him, punch him in the face. And he just think that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first, I naturally want to be like, Azada, like, you seen the fist coming. Why did you not move your face?
Yeah.
You call yourself Sonic. Yeah. You're not acting like Sonic right now.
Yeah, you're being real slow.
But I'm now trying to figure out how to do that. But that's who I at least think I'm a little bit more like. And when I look at Azai, I think, at least, let me go back a little bit. I think that Avery is who I grew up as.
He's a craw.
Tough. Like a craw, you know what I'm saying? But Azai is more of who I am now, a little bit more in touch with my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit better at communicating how I feel and what I want to do. He's extremely smart.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play a lot of video games, but now I play a lot more video games. And so he's into it. He loves Mario, old school Mario, Sonic, and all that other stuff. And he could be a little bit more sensitive. Like me, now I'm a crier. Like back then I never used to cry. I can watch any movie or whatever, just have a conversation, I'll just start crying.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say somebody kind of being your opposite, I see Azai as a little bit closer to an opposite of what I grew up as. And I kind of think to myself later down the road, will that, will that continue to put a gap between us? Or will that, I don't think there's a gap now, but will that put a gap between us?
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're saying that because y'all are somewhat the opposite and
exactly.
y'all are the closest. So, I mean, I think that gives me like some hope. That's good.
And I think Ryan is probably my younger brother.
Mm-hmm. How old is he?
Ryan is 21.
Okay.
So he turned 21 in August. I was in Brazil, so I missed the whole party.
Golly.
I mean, I sent him his Ace of Spades, and I was just like, I just spent this money on you. I want to get that joy.
I would have been crying. It's crazy to think he's 21, bro. I remember seeing like little him at the track meets. Like
I know. And he's like, we were talking last night, and I'm like, man, you're really about to graduate in December. Like, God, this time is flying. But yeah, so I think Ryan and him are, whether they want to agree with it or not, are exactly alike.
Really?
But Ryan and my mom are the closest. And then Lil Ray is like that buffer.
So your older brother, where do you think
I think he is...
Us older kids, we always got something else different.
Man, like Ray's like a Swiss Army knife. So I think he's both, man.
Oh, wow. And
I think that's why he's so successful in what he does, is because he can be emotional, but he's also got that own to him. So it translates over into the courtroom.
That's good.
Yeah.
I try to think sometimes about what I've taken from my father, like growing up. And he is a little bit closer to maybe your dad. He's super chill. He don't really talk much. Yeah. Some people think it's like he got a thick accent, like he don't talk. That's the reason why. Yeah. Like, no, my dad, he'll have fun. Like, if you know you, he'll talk and do whatever. You've probably been a little bit more in the area where he's like that. But most time at track meet, you see him, he just
chilling, walking from the jump pit to the hurdle. That's just how he is.
Just walk, make sure all the kids is good and stuff like that.
Good to see you, Mr. Crow. Hey, how's it going?
So I naturally probably wouldn't have thought about him like having that dog in him.
Yeah.
But I remember growing up, I always knew that he played soccer. He played pro soccer. He was really good. I only know he was really good just because his friends would say he was really good and stuff like that. And that's how he came over here to the States. But there's one thing he used to always tell us, because he never ran track or never did football or whatever. Yeah. He always say, like, defend your position.
Yeah.
Like, Maggie, please defend your position. And I'm thinking in my head, like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, this is track. There's no positions. Like, what exactly am I supposed to defend? And the same thing for football. I'm like, okay, I kind of get what he's saying, but he would never say anything more. But what he was trying to do was he put a word in my head that really prepared me for marriage. It really has prepared me for friendships that I've had. It really has prepared me to be a dad and in my work life. The defend your position has kind of put me in a place where I have to know what I stand for, and I have to be the man and stand in whatever it is that I mean or whatever it is that I'm saying. It has allowed me to understand that I have to be consistent in a lot of stuff.
Yep.
I have to defend my position when I'm, let's say, going for a new job, and my family has to be, in the forefront. It has to be the priority.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So that's good to have.
Yeah.
So tell me, I don't know how much you know about maybe your father's fatherhood, like the timeline and when he started having kids and stuff like that. Have you ever talked about that?
So, yes, but not really in detail.
Okay.
But I'm the type of person that I'll try to like figure things out and like piece it all together. Okay. And then I'll ask him a question like here and there to fill my holes. But it's a pretty interesting story. So just how Derry and I have been dating since I was in 9th grade. Mm-hmm. My mom and dad have been together since they were in middle school.
Oh, dang.
So definitely some inspiration there with like my marriage. But so my mom gave birth to my oldest brother 2 weeks before my dad's freshman camp at NC State.
What?
So Lil Ray's born in the middle of July. Football camp in college starts August 1st.
I don't even know where my head would be at right there. Like,
so when I think about my dad, it's like kind of what Denzel was talking about in the last episode. Mm-hmm. We asked questions, but our parents just reacted.
Yeah.
And my mom being still in high school at 17, having to adjust with that. So both of them kind of grew up together while also learning how to be parents.
Yeah.
So it started there, and then, he did his played at NC State, finished that out, and then they got married, and then I came when they were in like their mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
So I like to take pride. I was the one that was like, the plan, baby. You know what I'm saying?
I was the plan, baby. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
No, I'm just joking.
No,
but
no,
and then Ryan came 4 years after me. So, and that was it. So they haven't had, babies in over 20 years. But through that, I think they've done a great job. And,
I think so.
Yeah.
Look at you, bro. Like,
and that's not me trying to be arrogant on my behalf, but Lil Ray's a lawyer. I'm a naval officer, and Ryan's about to graduate. Now, if in 1989, when Mom gave birth, you could probably take a poll of people they were very close to, trying to figure out if Lil Ray was going to be successful. They'll probably say no, because the statistics say he's not, but he's a lawyer. And then to go 3 for 3 here in December, like, that's great. Beautiful. But so my parents have been parents since they were kids, and it's funny because they always joke and say we didn't realize how funny the other one was until Ryan got out the house, and it's like you get to focus more on each other. So
that's true.
But so my dad, father since he was 18, and his famous quote is, "Well, you never stop parenting. I'm always be your dad."
Amen. To that.
So
Amen.
A lot of people see parenthood as 18 years. Yeah, legally it's 18 years, but morally it's a lifetime, man.
Absolutely.
Because push come to shove, you're gonna always call your parents, ask them for help. And it doesn't even have to be financial help, because they can set you up where you don't need to call them for that. But sometimes you just need a listening ear, and some guidance on that end. So
sometimes you don't know how lost you are. Like, I called my dad one time when I was in school, and I was just trying to write a letter. I was like, "Hey, Daddy, where am I supposed to put the the address? Like, which one is the to? Which one is the from?" It just be like little stuff sometimes.
Little things you overlook growing up.
Yeah. I would have loved to speak to 18-year-old Ray to kind of get into his head a little bit before going into camp, like try to see like really where he was. Of course, he didn't know he was going to have 3 boys come after at some point in time, but it's really hard to get prepared, like to be extremely ready. Sometimes people feel like they have to do all these different things. Now, it's nothing wrong with trying to be stable and to plan on being a father, but sometimes, like you said, it's just like extremely reactionary.
You just got to do it, man. Yeah. And I think a lot of that may have been his upbringing. So my grandmother and her mom, so his grandmother, raised them in a 2-bedroom home, 7 siblings. Wow. So for him, he saw my grandma grind, her mom grind to make sure they were okay. And they always made a way. So I think for him as a provider, which I think is probably his greatest asset, is that, you figure it out. You make things shake no matter what.
And that's where I'm at right now. Like, I'm just trying to make sure that I figure it out. I sometimes beat myself up so much when I don't know, maybe like the way I may react to the kids when they do something wrong, and I think they should know better. And I beat myself up sometimes, or beat myself up for not being there. I remember I was on deployment when Isaiah had like taking his first steps, first words and stuff like that. And sometimes people will tell you like, "Oh, don't worry about it. They're not gonna remember that." But it's like
you're gonna remember.
I'm gonna remember that. You know what I'm saying? And that hurts. It really does hurt. But now what I'm trying to focus more on, even if they do or don't remember, is that I'm trying to be there like as much as possible.
Exactly.
I'm trying to be present mentally. I'm trying to be present physically, going to games and stuff like that as much as I possibly can. And sometimes I'm not going to know when that memory starts to kick in.
Yeah.
Do you have any maybe more fonder memories or fun memories of you and your dad? Or maybe anything that you can remember early?
Early? Oh, man. So my mom worked in retail when I was growing up before she became a teacher. So, and little Ray was probably in middle school. So he was starting to do his own thing.
Okay.
So I think my early memories are us just hanging out at the house after getting a haircut on Saturday.
Just chilling.
And it would be like playing football on the floor or going outside and just doing stuff together. So that's probably, and he probably don't remember any of this stuff.
I mean, it's probably normal. He was just chilling. Like he wasn't thinking much about it.
And then like Ryan is so young that he just need to sit and drink a bottle or play with a toy and he's good. So that's probably like the earliest memories. And then like kind of learning his background at that age. So at first it's like, oh, my dad played at NC State. Cool, they're on TV. But then it's like you get older and you're like, oh, man, that's kind of a big deal.
You're like, hold on. Like, you start putting yourself in their position a little bit. You're like, hold on.
Hold on now. And then you're like, I mean, it's cool, but I'm going to get there too. And then you get to that point, you're like, nah, man, this college football thing is hard. Getting there is hard. And he was one of the best to do it at coming out of his class. So, yeah. So I think that was kind of like just those early days, just trying to figure out who your dad is. Yeah. And, kind of what, like, gets him going. Because, nobody wants to make their dad mad.
No. Like, like it's something. I just watched something that was talking about like dad superpowers, and one of them, I believe it was the podcast or YouTube channel Dads Who Try, and he made it's kind of like this TikTok. It was talking about superpowers, and one of the superpowers you get as a father is like that dad voice.
Yeah,
it doesn't come in anytime before that, but all of a sudden, you know, like Kevin Hart even talked about, you get that hey, and you just kind of listen.
Yeah,
that hey would literally like echo through the house. It's like every child would just be still. I do it all the time. Sometimes I like using it. Sometimes I don't like using it. If I just get home from work and I'm not ready to be like disciplinarian or whatever, my wife kind of looks at me and was like, okay.
Y'all ain't transitioned yet. Y'all ain't turned over yet.
No, we ain't turned over yet. So I'm like, So if you look at me, sometimes I'm like, hey, your mama told you to put them shoes on. If I got to turn back around here one more time and I don't see them shoes up off that floor, it's going to be me and you.
Yeah.
He don't even know what me and you mean.
No.
But them shoes get on.
Exactly.
He can't even time yet, but them shoes get on fast.
And it was weird because like my dad worked second shift.
Okay.
Essentially my whole life. So a lot of our time was on the weekend because he would get home at 11. Yeah. But my mom would always say, you know, your dad come home and he'll wake you up.
And it worked though, don't it?
And I'm like, that's a tap I don't want. That's a tap I don't want.
Boy, don't nobody want to make their daddy mad. It's just something about it. And that's why we talk about the presence could be so powerful.
Exactly. I'm like, you gonna whoop me and then he gonna whoop me too? I'm good.
That's
I'm good.
I don't need that. Yeah. My dad didn't even whoop me a lot, but I think it was just the idea. I think he might only whoop me once. Yeah. The idea that like I was gonna disappoint him in some type of way, like that I just didn't want to be there. And I don't know if that's like a son to father thing. Yeah. I don't know if that's a son to father relationship. I maybe have to speak to my wife or maybe other daughters and stuff like that. See if that is kind of the same thing. But you talked about a little bit about putting yourself in their position. I did that maybe like sometime last week. As I just started playing soccer. And you know, we got 4 kids. Yeah. And my mom and dad have 4 kids. And the first thing I think about as I was starting to take them to practice, we went to week 1, week 2, and finally, bro, it hit me. Like I just came home one day and I was just tired. And I was like, I don't want to go to practice today. And I was almost as if I was him. And I started thinking to myself, like, my mom and dad for like 20 years took every single one of us to track practice, football practice, baseball practice, whatever. After long days of work, my dad used to work 2 jobs, sometimes more. He had businesses on the side, all these different stuff. And they still took the time to invest in us enough that they would still take us to and from practice. And that gave me a little bit of strength. And like I know the type of dad like that I have, and he's always like a very lead by example guy. And I try to keep that in the back of my head all the time. Like I want to take that characteristic from him and be able to instill it into my kids as well. 100%. Just kind of let it lean down. You know, the generations, like what characteristics of your father do you want to make sure that you have or might already have that you want to instill into your kids?
Well, I think the biggest thing I think his greatest asset is providing. He worked second shift, so like those during the week moments I didn't always have, but we spend a ton of time together on the weekends. So definitely providing. I don't want to be as reactive as him because sometimes it can be a little too reactive.
That's me, yeah.
But I think it's good to have zero tolerance for BS and to point it out. And I think that's something that he's really good at. Maybe, you know, my way of kind of having like that bird's eye view to like try to keep the conflict down as much as possible. But definitely like that no BS meter. Yeah. And then just being there for us because, I mean, I want to say like growing up, I might be the only like close friend that I had that 2-parent homes the whole way through. So just being that example for my future kids that like, marriage is amazing, but marriage is tough and you figure it out and you always put your family first, no matter, you know, how you feel or how tough it gets, how rainy the day is. Because at the end of the day, it's eventually everything soothes over and you're going to be all right. Yeah, you don't want to make permanent decision over temporary feelings. So like, I think that's the main thing. But yeah.
That's good, bro. I mean, I think you put that together well. And I like that you're talking about like marriage and kids because it's a different dynamic.
100%.
Like it doesn't, having kids or not having kids and being married doesn't make marriage any easier. Nope. But it adds a different like dynamic to the situation. And I can't say that between me and my wife and having kids, we had to learn how to pivot a little bit more. Yeah. And what I do enjoy is that you have friends who are also fathers. Yep. And no matter if they're older, younger, your peers, or whatever, you get to take a chance to take a look at that. Like you get to play with the kids, you get to look at their marriage and see how it has changed or maybe how they have shifted in their marriage and see, you know, when it comes down to the road to you having kids, like what that might look like.
100%.
Now, do you want boys, girls?
So that's a funny question. We'll take whatever God blesses us with.
Hey,
that's first and foremost. But not even more so me. Daria's like, I'm not competing with the girl, so I only want boys. And for me, I'm like, shoot, that's cool.
Oh, competing.
Yeah,
for
she's not competing for my time, and I'm like,
oh man, we're gonna have a whole nother segment on that. I'm gonna bring Vad and a couple other girl dads in here because I don't have that. I mean, we got all boys.
So I would love to keep the tradition going. All boys, but
carry the name.
I'll take whatever it is, man. No, but she's pretty adamant about that. So we'll probably end up with all girls. You know how it works out.
Yeah, because I was the one. Everybody could tell you even in high school, like I was talking about, I want to have a girl, and all this other stuff. And I'm telling you, bro, it's been boy after a boy. And then they hit me down with the double boy. It was like boom, boom. So
double whammy.
I'm even thinking right now, do I have room? Like
I don't know, man. You
for another, and I don't mean like physical room. I can't wait to get some more veteran dads in here so I can really have that conversation with them. And I guess I've kind of seen it go down. Like once I had Azai, I was like, man, this is a different type of love that I've never even felt before. Like I could never really imagine it. When you see people with kids in the store and they got the little smile on or whatever, or you're just with somebody talking about how much they love their kids. It's not until you actually have a child. You might have nieces, nephews, and some people make the reference about like, oh, but I have a dog. Like, I understand dogs are like kids, but dog you can throw in the cage, toss out back, you can do whatever. A kid is completely different.
100%.
So when I was going to have a second child, my thought was like, how am I going to love them equally? Like, will I love my first child more? Do I still have enough room? And it just happens, bro. Like, I don't know how. It's like God implants like another tab in your head on the browser. And it's just like, now I have love for another child. And then now I got 2 new ones. And I'm like, good gracious. Like, I can't believe I still have this much love or that I'm getting more love to give to these different kids individually. And I don't have a favorite. I don't love one child more than the other. But I think about the love between a father and a daughter and what it looks like and how different it is. It's almost kind of why I want to have one because I want to experience that type of love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like, really like. And I mean, I guess I'll talk about it when I get a girl dad on here.
Yeah, you got to get a girl dad. And it's funny because I'm 2 brothers, but Daria is just a sister. There's no boys.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's true. I wonder how that was. I would love to talk to D-Rob about
So maybe
that.
we'll split. Maybe we'll get 1 boy, 1 girl.
Who knows?
Right? I know.
Maybe y'all get like have 4 kids. Like at once.
No, I don't know about that one.
Maybe you never know. You might have quadruplets. Like,
I mean, I guess you can't do nothing about that. You just got to.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you, bro. You can't do nothing about it when it comes.
You got to swallow that one.
Yeah, no. When it comes, it comes, bro. I wanted to ask you to kind of make a verbal letter to your father. Like, I want to talk to the 18-year-old Ray who right now is thinking about all these different things, thinking about school, thinking about football, and now he's throwing this big wrench, which you can think of maybe as a wrench, into his plan of being a father and having no clue how he's going to do it.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the type of father he's going to be. Maybe he feels prepared. Maybe he doesn't. It would be nice to hear from you to him how you're doing. Just anything. Just give me something to 18-year-old Ray.
Oh, man. All right. Cut me off if I go too long. You know I can get
long
with
bro,
it. So,
give it to me.
I would say, I'm going to talk like an old man, like, young fella.
I guess he's speaking in the past a little bit, so yeah, you can do that.
Young fella, you have been in your mind on top of the world for the last couple of years of your life. Your dreams are coming true. You're going to your dream school. You are in a relationship with an incredible woman, and God has bestowed a challenge, unexpected challenge upon both of y'all. And whether people think it's a mistake or rightfully so, a blessing, you're going to be all right. You're still going to be able to follow your dreams. You're going to score the touchdowns on ESPN and play in bowl games, and that's all. You're going to fulfill all those things. But you're also going to birth a healthy boy who's going to go on and do great things. He's going to become a lawyer. And, before all that, you and your sweetheart are going to get married. So everything's going to fall in place. And there's going to be challenges throughout those first couple of years that you're not necessarily ready for or were expecting. But you're going to get through them, and then there's going to become your favorite, the middle, in the great year '97.
There we
That you're going to be very close with and have a very fond impact on. And he's going to go to the Naval Academy, get recruited by your old coach, graduate from there, marry his high school sweetheart, and then you're also going to have a younger child who may have had a little more challenges than the older two, but he's going to figure it out too. And it's going to show that he's the reason why you keep faith, because while it may not be as easy as the first two, he's going to go on and do great things as well and make you proud. Also, to know that you're going to impact your boys on a different level, because the bonds that you think you built through a game of football, it's going to teach them so many life lessons and things that you taught them on life: responsibility, accountability, taking care of what you're supposed to take care of, but also being confident young men that excel in all facets of life. So I would just say, young fella, job well done, and I hope we're making you proud day by day.
Man. Oh, man, I can't wait till he hears that. And what I took from that, and this can go to any of the new fathers, you may be in a place where you think your season is about a little bit different than maybe what you just heard, or your season is something that you can't even like fathom, right? You may think that you're in a place where you can't take it, or you're not prepared, or no one can help you. All you have to do is just be present. If you can be present, if you can be there, if you can try to be consistent, everything else is going to work itself out. 100%. Being a father can be extremely hard, but it can be extremely rewarding, and at times it can be extremely easy. All you have to do in that moment is take a breath. Even when things get frustrating, you just have to take a breath and remember that the impact and the greatest impact that you can have on your kid's life is being there. 100%. So with that being said, man, I appreciate you being here. This is extremely fun. I know we're going to probably do this again.
Oh, yeah, you invite me back anytime. I'll just sit like right here and just joke with all you got.
A little fly on the wall. We'll hook that up. But everything that you just told me right now, when you were talking to your dad, I took it as if my sons were talking to me. I'm getting emotional talking about it, bro. It just gave me so much strength. Yeah. And I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I know your dad does too.
100%.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.